Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Francis, can you hear me? I think we are now recording.
Yep.
All right. So how have you been? It was I felt that the month was very quick. You know, we were just talking about the egg last January, and then
Yeah.
it's now almost the end of February.
Yeah. Time flies by.
Yeah, I know, but it's weird when you like last January when you browse the social media very quickly. Majority of the people said they felt January was very long. Like personally, I didn't feel that way. I thought it was like it's pretty fast, and then now February's done. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. I think this is something I noticed. You know about the. I think it will be relevant in the stories that we'll be discussing now. You know,
Yeah.
this some sort of like social media mentality where I don't know, people are watching the same shows. You know, people think the same way about things. You know, like yeah, just things like they felt a bunch of people posted they felt January was very long, and then everyone was saying it like yeah that's right, it's very long.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
think it
I did feel that.
has
Yeah.
it has something to do with most social media platforms. The algorithm are usually what you see. For example, in Facebook or YouTube. If let's have, for example, you watch videos about cats, so most
Yeah.
likely you'll mostly get videos about
Yeah.
cats.
You
So
you'll be fed with people that agree with you, right? Like in
you'll
terms of
only get different posts if someone you're following posts or your friends do something different. But it
yeah.
could be, I think it won't always show also due
Yeah,
to the
or
algorithm.
if you're like pretty neutral about things, right? Like if then the algorithm will be confused. Like, what do we feed this guy? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be.
yeah, but yeah. But I think for this month of February, we'll be reading, like as discussed, as we mentioned last time, we'll be reading two things. So
Yeah.
the first one that we assigned last month is the. So let me open it very quickly here. It's in my Kindle. So
Mm-hmm.
we actually chose Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, right?
Yeah,
So
really
this is a
Jackson.
very famous short story, and in fact, it was first published in The New Yorker.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe I sent Francis the link last time. In The New Yorker, that was like when it was published in 1948. That was now it has a narration as well if you go to their website, so you can check it out for free. The other one is, of course, so I have a copy of this very nice book, Franz, the Big Book of Modern Fantasy. So yeah,
Nice.
the background algorithm is having a hard time if I put it away from my face. Yeah, it will,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the Big Book of Modern Fantasy. Uh, Here, yeah, one of the stories that they feature here is, of course, that we wanted to read was is the ones who walk away. Those are the ones who walk away from Omelas. Yeah, so Omelas, very fantasy sounding setting by this very famous author Ursula Le Guin. I think she was the one who did the Earth Sea series, right? Tales of the Earth Sea, and uh, I didn't bring it, but yeah, I was supposed to bring it in my office. I have a book, friends, of Ursula Le Guin with her autograph. I was able to buy uh a collection of hers with her autograph. So it's so
Wow.
awesome. Yeah. So yeah. So one of well, yeah, one of those. Oh, I have a few. Like sometimes you look at book sale and then you just happen to look at books containing authors autographs. So I have like Joe Haldeman's autograph, the author of Forever One. Then I have the author of Neuromancer, William Gibson. So very precious.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah.
that's one of
So
the good things finding books in second hand books shop.
yeah. But of course, yeah, you have to be like we should tell the readers you have to be worried about that because like I have like if you follow something like the Stephen King Reddit, for example, a lot of people would post in their like books of Stephen King with an autograph, and then they're gonna ask, is this legitimate or stuff like that, and then it's very obvious that it's not his autograph, you know. So you want to do a quick Google if it's like a famous author, you can do
Mm-hmm.
a quick Google of what their signature or what their autograph looks like, and then yeah, you can tell for yourself. So if it's fake or not. So the ones I have, I'm pretty sure are are legitimate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was also nice because I got that book like around the same year that she died. I forgot which year Le Guin died. I think we can look it up very quickly. Like I think it's the middle of 20 oh it's 2018. It's even more recent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She died in 2018, January 2018. Yeah, but so that's one of the stories. So I chose this story. In fact, in this anthology, France, where the lottery, where it contains the lottery, this collection is called the Brave New Worlds. It also contains the ones who walk away from Omelas here. So thematically related books. So as you will realize when we discuss, you know, the plot and all these things of what the stories are about, you'll see how they are connected. Okay, so I think France, we should, like usual, we should dive in. So again, this is the February 2023 edition of the Book Lovers Club, where we'll be talking about Shirley Jackson's The Lottery and The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula Le Guin. So like always, friends, I think we will give a very short, like non-spoilery description of these two, like people who want to read it. But I don't know, maybe you can give it a try for like The Lottery. I don't know like how to sell it without, you know, giving away the spoiler.
For the lottery, I think there's I think I think the setting is Midwestern, like the gold
Yeah,
rush
like
setting.
it's
Mm,
very like ruralish or, you know, suburban, right?
yeah, it's like the setting is like those villages before in the gold rush era.
Yeah. Mhm.
They 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 have this kind of tradition where I think that was weekly. They
No,
meet
no,
up.
it's annual. It's annual. Every like I think June 27th, so something.
It's annual,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's annual.
It's
Yeah,
annual.
it's an
They
annual.
have they have this annual event where they meet up and they draw a lottery. And
Mm.
yeah, we can't I can't say anything
Yeah, it's
further
just
about
yeah, it's
that.
just yeah. I think yeah, how you know sticking to tradition can
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. Yeah, but yeah, it was very fascinating. Yeah, that I think yeah, something like, have you seen France the movie Midsommar? Uh,
Need Somar?
Midsommar. Yeah, it's like it's a long, yeah, it kind of, the premise kind of feels, you know, kind of, not the premise, I mean the theme, like it's set in like some rural area, and then, you know, people doing some tradition, and then
Mhm.
there were like these I think history or sociology students who want to observe the ritual because, you know, it's for their thesis and stuff. But yeah, you should check that movie out. So it's awesome. Midsummer, the name. I think it's like midsummer, but instead of summer, SOMM, midsummer. I think that's how they like. It's like a European language of some sort, and then that's how they pronounce it. Midsummer. Yeah, very fascinating movie that's related. And how about the ones who walk away from Omelas? How would you like sell it to someone who haven't read it?
Yeah, I think the ones who walk away from Omelas is a bit easier than the lottery. The ones who walk away from Omelas is like there's was she mentioned as a tourist, or yeah, she was mentioned as someone
Yeah,
passing by, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like yeah, yeah, it's like some narrator that's trying to sell you of
yeah,
this place. Yeah, like this place is so awesome, and then yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he or she was trying to convince the reader like there exists this place that is like if you're in there, you know, you can have like everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
She describes it as a happy place.
yes, it's very, and then not and then there was like she tried or the narrator tried so hard to say that yeah, it's happy, but not some sort of like the goody. I think Le Guin, you know, use the term use the word goody in her like, you know, because sometimes when a place is described as something very good, it almost feels very boring, right? Like you
Yeah,
know, it's so peaceful. It's just sometimes if you think about it, so this place must be very boring. But yeah, she said no, it's not. If you think it's some of this place that feels like a goody goody, it's not. Like I think Guin even said you can add an orgy in there if you want. If that's what you think a good place is, then put it there. Put anything that you want, and then that's an amazing place. But yeah, the thing that I'm gonna add about Omelas is it has like a weird structure. Like it's like there's no plot, right? Like it's plotless. Like
Yeah.
there's like there are no dialogues. Like there like a few dialogues, like probably scattered a few parts of the story, but just to describe, like maybe there's a part about a horse, but there was no like characters talking to each other and nothing like that. It's like it's almost as if the setting is like the entire. Yeah, it's very fascinating. Yeah. So I think yeah we so I that's like when we do this in the beginning, Francis and I are gonna give that non-spoilery portion just in case you want to go ahead and read them. So I think yeah it won't be a waste of your time if you go ahead and read Shirley Jackson's The Lattery and Ursula Le Guin's The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, and then do that very quickly. In fact, there are like I believe there are like audiobooks you can find in YouTube, all these things. And then after that, you can come back with full discussion with Francis and I. Okay. So which one should we tackle first, Franz? Well, with these two stories, like we said, they are thematically related, but which should we go first?
I
Maybe
think
the
the
uh,
lottery. We
yeah,
should
we can.
save Omelas last.
Yeah. So the Lattery, like historically was written first. It was like in 1948. So I read a few backgrounds. When I read it, when I gave you the link, I read it in this anthology, but it was first published as one of those in the fiction section of the New Yorker. So this New Yorker newspaper, but there are places where you can submit your fiction. I don't know if newspapers, like I don't know in the Philippines if newspapers still do that, but usually magazines, right? But
Maybe
uh
columns, little columns. I
yeah,
think
yeah, columns. But
they're
yeah,
yeah, just columns. I think yeah.
yeah.
It's
But
been a while since I've seen Sarkasokot
I
post.
was I was about to say it's more rarer to see fiction like in a newspaper compared to something like a magazine, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Shirley Jackson, yeah, submitted this so it was published like in 1948. And if you read the background, this was like this like in the history of the New Yorker, like this is like the most hate mail they got for a fiction piece. The New Yorker being a news piece, you can expect people submitting hits, reaction and all these things, but this one like garnered the most reaction from readers. Like they during that time, reader didn't know what to make of it because first some so Shirley Jackson said this like on record. Some people thought that this was real, like it wasn't like because they were reading a newspaper, right? So they were like, okay, let me read the news. And then they found this piece, the lottery, and they were like they were so shocked to see this very weird ritual that I think yeah we should discuss very briefly like what this ritual is all about. So there's like this like Francis mentioned a while ago, like some sort of a rural or a suburban place that if you read the first part of the short story was very upbeat, France, right? Like did you get that did you get that
Yeah, I think it
the
it was
mood?
like a normal um I think around pre-Civil War type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
community where there were schools, work,
Yes. Then yes,
and
and then everyone was very jovial to each other.
yeah,
But all
everyone
in all,
knew each other
yeah,
like that.
yeah. The mood was very, very like upbeat, right? Like you
Yeah,
didn't you,
you
you didn't
wouldn't
know you didn't
expect
know
it.
yeah, you can't expect what was coming. Like but yeah, in there you can already tell that yeah, these villagers were preparing for some celebration, some ritual of
Mhm.
some sort, like some fiesta or something. And then yeah, it's called a lottery. It's something that they do every year.
Yeah,
That yeah, so during the like the bulk of the story, they Shirley Jackson really showcased in detail how the ritual goes on, right? And then how, like she also mentioned how some bits of the ritual were there were like some parts of the ritual that were already like changed or modernized, like
Yeah.
before they were like using chips of woods, right, instead of
Yeah.
yeah, but then since there are like hundreds of them now, so they use now paper, all these things. And then uh yeah, and then slowly, as you go towards the end, as the latter is revealed, so they will like gather in this
There's
place
square.
in,
Their
yeah,
village
in the town square or something like that. And then there's like some sort of was it their
statue.
postman or something, right? Like like an
No,
officiator, right?
the Mr. I think the Mr. something there is like their mayor or something. Then the
Yeah, yeah.
postman was his assistant.
Yeah, some sort of assistant. Yeah, so this head figure guy, he was the
Uh,
one leading the ceremony. And then again, some backgrounds for Jackson saying that before, there used to be when the officiator would do a chant, right, or say something very meaningful when they call out names. But then when in the modern setting, when they were doing that, they were just calling names, and then so initially it's like head of the families, or head of like the different households. So per household, maybe I think, yeah, you can think of it like some sort of family name. There are like different families per household, so the head of the household would pick a from the lottery. And then out of those, maybe if your household contains, let's say, five or more, or two or more families, then you get to pick another one. And then a certain family, there's another lottery to pick a certain part of that family member. But yeah, always at the back of our minds, what is this lottery like? What are they trying to achieve? Like, does the winner win a kitchen showcase or something, for the
electric fan.
yeah, or yeah, some sort of electric one or something for this lottery. But yeah, and then in fact, before it was even revealed, some other people were saying, France, right, like in the other neighboring village, they're now doing away with the lottery. And then there was this
Yeah,
old
they're not
man, I forgot,
doing the lottery.
yeah, old man, I forgot his name, like it's W something, Warren or something like that. He was like, or Walter something. He was like, this the young kids these days, they don't respect. And then he had this like some sort of saying, like a lottery is June, the corn will be filled soon or something. So it's like it's almost as if, they're literally equating this kind of lottery to the prosperity of their upcoming year, right? It is based on the how do you say this, of them doing this particular ritual, but then towards the end, a certain family, I think it was Hutchinson, right? So Bill Hutchinson was like the father of that family. There was no, they only had one, there was no household. I think there was even some discussions of, how about like the family of our other daughters, but then they were like, but they have the head of their family already picked for them, so it's not counted. So they're just like one family. And then so the Bill's family, the Hutchinson family, gets to pick from the the other box, right? And then
Yeah,
eventually, I think they had like an older kid, right, France, and then they had like a junior, and then
yeah,
there was a young girl,
yeah,
a young
daughter.
girl, and then Tess, the wife, and then Bill,
Mm,
the husband.
yeah.
And so they pick from the box. And then they get paper that were like marked as blank, right? And then eventually, yeah, the last was, of course, Tess got the paper with the mark with a pencil. And then what happened, France?
And then she got stoned to death.
Yeah, and then kids, it was like nothing, right? They were just like,
Yeah,
hey, come on, kids, we're
we
still
need
gonna do something
we
else,
need to
it's like,
do it because
yeah.
we've been do it since our village was founded.
Yeah, and then yeah, it was a bit macabre when, like, you think about it. Initially, kids were playing slowly and slowly. Shirley Jackson was already mentioning the stones, like,
Yeah,
the kids were already making
yeah,
piles of
making a
stones,
pile.
like at first you're like, okay, that's fine, they're just playing. And then and then these stones were like
Uh, the
used to.
the that pile of stones was what gave it away to me already.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, initially, yeah,
Oh,
when I first read it, no, I didn't. I wasn't looking at that. I was like, oh, what are they trying to like? I was, yeah. Then it's very similar to, you remember, Franz, the short story we read in Circus Sokot's class, the Mat. You remember the Mat by Francisco? I think his name, Arceliana, Francisco Arceliana or something.
I don't
Uh,
think I remember that one.
Oh, you the he bought mats for his kids. You remember this? Like he came home. So it's the same.
Mm,
Like the setting was very rural, right? And then he
yeah.
went home. He was like bringing mats to his kids. He was like,
Mm,
look, I made this mat. You know, someone was making mats, and then you can like embroider the name of the families.
mm-hmm.
And then he was like, okay, so this is my mat. So it has this design, golden borders and whatever. And then he made a mat for his wife, and then he made a mat for his children. And then and then towards it was very jolly, right? But then towards the
Yeah,
end of the story, he began picking mats with some names. You remember this, friends?
not
And
still.
then the twist is that he began taking mats that contains names, and then it was revealed that no, they had like other kids, like probably three more kids that were already dead.
Ah,
And then yeah, and then they was like, no, this is for Pedro. And then the mother was like, please stop. Like, they already moved on, right? And then he was like, no, it's not right to forget them. And so it was this sudden change of tone from, very jolly, this guy bringing pasalubong, taking some mats to their homes. And then he was like, but this is for Susan, or I forgot the names, but and then in fact, the symbolism, I remember Sir Kasoko telling us of a mat that is like, you know if you can imagine a mat, right, which is a
yeah.
rectangle with your names on it, it's like a lapida, or what's the English word for lapida, the
Headstone.
the headstone, the graveyard marker. Yeah, it's like that. So
Gravestone.
at
Yeah.
first it was like, oh, that's very nice, putting your names on a mat. And then yeah, and then towards the end, when he pulled the mats for his kids, you're like, oh, shucks, these are how do you say this, these are like placeholders for headstones, for graveyard markers. Yeah.
Mm,
So it's the mats. Yeah, it's like Arceliana. So something like that, like where it almost feels like a shotgun, right? Like when this thing, when the tone, there's like a sudden shift in tone, where something
yeah.
it's very happy, then suddenly it
Yeah.
becomes very sad. Yeah, it
Yeah. I
felt
can
like that.
understand the people who are complaining.
I know. No, no, no. Like Franz, in one of the letters that Shirley Jackson wrote, right? Like, what the funny thing is, in one of the letters, someone said this. Can you, like, this is so barbaric? Can you? He was like one of the complainers. He was like, Can you tell us where this is happening so that we can go there and watch? That was like,
What the?
what? you know because yeah, as barbaric as it sounds, like, I don't know, people, we do have some it's like the reasons, like movies that are like over the top, or like are violent, or something that you don't usually see in real lives. Like, I don't know, like sometimes we have like this how do you say this, like a built-in craving for that, right? So yeah, it's like one of that
Yeah, I think
complainers.
I can remember something like that. I think I've already told you this story before that
Mm,
I was curious on the process on how they sterilize male or bulls, male cows.
mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, when I went together with my mother one day with my Lola, and they were about to sterilize one of their bulls. So what they did was they trapped the bull in between two big branches of a tree.
Mhm.
They tied it there. Then they brought two big bamboo poles. They each end tied together. Then they placed the
Yeah,
bull's testicles between those two
yeah,
bamboos. They stretched,
yeah.
and then they released it. Then boom! At first, I watched it. I was transfixed there watching.
I know. Yeah, it's like I don't know. Like, maybe it's
The
just us, but It's fascinating, right? Looking at these things.
Yeah, but the poor bull, oh my God,
Yeah.
his eyes rolled to the back of his head, his mouth foaming, and luckily it didn't die.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I think yeah, it was like tested for like they probably tested it before, like I think yeah, cows won't die if we do this, and then they realized it was effective, right? But it's a waste though, right? Because I know like some cuisine that use that part for for like meal or
Yeah,
something, right? So if you crush it, I don't know, but yeah, in any case, yeah, there
yeah,
was
but
that there was that author who wrote,
yeah,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
wouldn't
So
need to do surgery on the bull.
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, so something like I also like to point out, like for example, when Tess was chosen right for the lottery, it's not even that she didn't even complain about the first thing that she complained, and you can really tell that the tradition was really very ingrained into them, that
Yeah,
they really accepted it. Was that she complained that her husband was not given enough time to pick up. She's like, oh, it's unfair. When he was
yeah,
picking up, you didn't give him enough time, right? She wasn't complaining about, oh, you're why are you stoning me, right? Are you kidding? No, she didn't complain about that. She complained about the process of picking, like, right, like
yeah,
so yeah, so like unconsciously it's already like built in with that within that society, this idea of a sacrifice or a scapegoat, right? Like something that
mhm,
like that you ought to do, like you have, like it's something. So this something that is very as we will talk about later with the Omelas, is that we don't see the point of view of the villagers, that like how about villagers that are not into that part of the ritual, right? Just the
yeah,
story just ended right then and there, and then it's like understood that everyone is into that scene, into that scenario. But yeah, this idea of that's like the main theme right now, even with the Omelas that we'll discuss later, is this idea of a scapegoat, or a sacrificial something that will solve like everything away.
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, people, most people like find that like that very fascinating. Like if there's this single solution that you do that can take care of everything. Yeah,
Everything.
yeah. I just remember. I think there was, I read France in what was this? Trece, the comics. It was like it wasn't in the, it didn't make it in the Netflix because it's like a standalone short story, but it has a very similar idea where there was this guy, there was this god of like
War.
a thunder or something, and then there's this place called the Live Well. It's called, I forget the name of the story, was the juice of the condo juice or something like that, the yearly juice of the live well village. And then so the village was very prosperous, right? They have this,
Yeah,
the work is fine, every kid's there, their class is the school is very good, there was no problem. But then every year they're required to, like, there's like a guy from Meralco or from Noriko who will go there and check their electricity, and then he gets zapped by the like by this some sort of a god of thunder. And then people were
yeah,
just, when the guy that would fix the electricity goes into the village, they were very weird because they offer him a lot of food. They're like, oh,
yeah.
thank you for coming, thank you for helping us. And then it was like, oh, why are these people giving me food? And then yeah, it was like a lamb to the slaughter. It's like bam, and then
Yeah, it
he's
was
dead.
the
And then
offering.
yeah, there's, yeah, something like that. So as you can see, this theme is very, very familiar, right? In fact, yeah, I've read France in like some like very very like deep comparison. Some people would even think of this as some sort of like in the Christianity, right? When you have this one there's a sacrifice so that our sins will be, this narrative, right?
Yeah,
So it's a very, how do you say this? It's a very beautiful concept, it's a very beautiful proposal of if there can be like one scapegoat, and then everything will be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the older civilizations, they sacrifice people
Oh yeah. Yes, yes. Good thing, yeah.
for
Like the
the
the the the
harvest.
like the
Mayans,
Mayans, right?
Incans,
How do you say this? What do you call that movie, France? Apoca
apocalypto.
Oh yeah, the one Apocalypto, yeah, where
Having
they, yeah, they put it there in the gods and then just rip their hearts out. Yeah, so it dates back. Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, this thing, yeah, it dates back. So very,
and yeah,
yeah.
I I no, the Greeks don't offer, but they have something similar. Like they offer like 10 bulls, I think. That's why
Mm,
the name of that celebration was something like 10 bulls or 100 bulls like that.
mm.
I forgot the name. Yeah, but sacrifice has been part of rituals of people since long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, like I don't know if we haven't looked much, but yeah, it's like it's very rare to see like some sort of god figure that no, I don't need that. No, you don't have to sacrifice. Like, I give you whatever you want, man. Like, no, no, we don't need this. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
like
don't know
the
why.
god
I
in
don't know
the
why. Right? Like, I don't. I think, yeah, I think it's because like we see it around us. Like if we get something that's too good to be true, we are always on the lookout for the twist, right? They were like, but where's the twist? There must be something, right? Like right? Like you don't just like get like 1 million or something. Someone will give you, hi, I give you like
yeah.
money. Like we always look out for the twist, right? Because we know that in order to get the good things in life, we know that we have to work for it. We have to sacrifice, and so yeah, so like it's very hard to buy into this notion of just get everything for free and then without doing anything. Yeah.
Law of equivalent exchange.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, what you get out is what you put in. Yeah, it's a very fascinating. Yeah, the idea of sacrifice. But yeah, also the idea in general of this, because this short story, France, I got it in the anthology where they talked about how do you say this, utopians as well. So it can
Mm,
be,
yeah,
so
yeah,
in this case we have a village that well, these terms are very tricky when you say, because when you say utopia, it's like something that is very perfect, right? And then you have
yeah.
the
Very
exact
perfect.
opposite, which is dystopia, which is of
Mm,
course is a place where you don't want to live in. But yeah, usually like fantasy or science fiction stories like this, they usually like begin with something that's very utopian, right? And then you can see that like somewhere there's gonna be a twist, like
mhm.
this can't be like all perfect. So there has to be something there has to be a twist to that. And I think, yeah, the like one of the earliest sci-fi, like utopian or
The,
dystopian, yeah, like I mentioned, that could be
the
you could,
foundation.
you yeah, no, not foundation, the how do you say it? Bradbury, the Fahrenheit 451 or something, where uh
Mm,
they born book, like reading books are like illegal, and so you have these people called firemen, where like firemen, right, are supposed to, when
put
you think
out.
of firemen now, firemen are supposed to put out fire, but in Fahrenheit 451, firemen are go to your house and then burn stuff. Like, oh, we are the firemen, I heard you were reading books. And yeah, so it's a setting where reading is illegal. But it's an interesting notion, France, because like to some like this, for example, let's take that society where they ban books, right? To some who like do not read, or or don't value reading, like it's not something that would feel like a loss to them, right? Like there's like, I don't care, I don't read, right? So sometimes, yeah, sometimes the idea of like utopia or dystopia is, it can be subjective, right? Like,
Ah,
so like yeah, because if like I said, if you're not into books, like you don't mind, like, okay, they boarding books, so what, that doesn't affect me, you know so yeah, so that's like the how do you say this, usually the themes for dystopia or utopia can be subjective at times. But Franz, I think, yeah, we can now go to the, you have anything to add? But I think, yeah, we can still go back to the lottery, because like I said, thematically they're somewhat related with the ones who walk away. I think, yeah, some people, they use the shortcut tuwafo tuwafo, the ones who walk away from Omelas. They just take the first letters, and then,
yeah.
or it sounds ridiculous. So just people when they discuss, they just call it Omelas.
Yeah.
When they when referring to the short story. So yeah, I think we can now talk about Ursula Le Guin's how do you say this, Omelas. Uh, so can you take it, Franz? What was the Omelas all about? By the way, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the stories that we're discussing now is like both are written by females, right?
Yeah, female author.
Shirley Jackson, yeah, and Ursula Le Guin are oh no, wait, let me yeah, Shirley Jackson, because yeah, sometimes the name sounds how do you say this? But yeah, both are female. Shirley Jackson, the latter is also female. So yeah, that's good. Yeah. So Omelas, yeah. So
Yeah, Omelas starts off with like the narrator sounds like a tourist describing the festivities of a certain place. Like she went there, there was some kind of feast or event where
mhm,
she describes how the place looks like and how I think there was a parade with
yeah, like procession,
dancing,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, procession, and she also describes the how how their buildings and how their way of lives look like. Like plus she described it. The thing about there's this thing about this how she describes the place of Omelas, which left me kind of confused at first. Like she was
Mm,
saying that it could be this or it could be that,
mm,
something like that. That's what was making me confused at first. But Percy described it as a jovial community. As you said earlier, there were there was even an orgy, or
yeah,
they
if you
could be
want, yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's something like that. She describes it, and also she describes the place as something that wasn't like the the outside world where they have
Mm,
cars,
mm,
trains, like that.
mm,
But there was still a jovial community without those luxuries like that. And then while then there were then she also describes the community as something like I forgot the term. Just like how Sparta does it, where
mhm,
they don't care for their young specifically, like they gave birth to their child, they don't take care of it by themselves. The whole
yeah. It's
community
communal, yeah.
uh, takes care of it. Then there she mentions there that there was that boy who plays the flute while during the
Mm,
sessions, and then just like that. And the her description was really vivid, and you could imagine
yeah.
the place.
And friends, don't forget the no leaders, no soldiers, no
Yeah,
priest, no, right? No, yeah,
yeah, they don't have that kind of government structure
yeah,
compared to
yeah.
the other places. They're very communal as literal as it gets. Like
Mm,
and then something there. She mentioned something there at the end, just like in the lottery. There's a twist. Then she mentions there that there's a kid in the basement that was they keep they keep him in the dark because everything, all the happiness on that place was only possible because that kid was in there. That kid was deformed, I think, and had mental problems, so they kept him there. So um, that's what she said, that if that kid was taken out of there, everything, the happiness they experience would be uh, taken away from them.
mm, yeah.
And then there were times that people will visit the kid, but most will just visit. the kid some would just even look at it, watch it, and though there are some that would feel pity for the kid, but
Mm,
just like in the lottery, they just turn away thinking that yeah, it's justified. They feel pity, but they say that it's justified because the suffering of one is better for the good of the many.
mm.
And then there are some those who are the ones who walk away from Omelas. And that's how it ends.
Yeah. So very yeah, this is a classic as well. This is usually anthologized everywhere else,
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
really very beautiful.
mm, very you can,
Beautiful.
it's like like Guin. This is like the first work I read of her. Like I did because I like I said before, I do short story first before I dive into. Like Guin has a very like good novels as well and stuff. I haven't read like the Earth Sea and all these things, but I begin with a short story correction, and then yeah, the Omelas short story really struck with me because it's just a description of a place with it doesn't like in the strictest sense of a word, it doesn't even like qualify it doesn't you can't even call it a story, right? Because it's just a description of a setting, right? It's just you describing this place is blah blah blah. There was no plot, no no things like that, but yeah. So but like thematically France, right? Like again, we are back to this concept of a scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have this kid, she mentioned, this kid. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's boy or girl, but the important thing is it has to be there. That was like the
Yeah.
twist of the Omelas. Like the moment, and also like if it's there and then you visit it, the moment like you talk, like you show some humanity to it, like you give it clothes or you give it food or something like that, on top of what's the minimal thing that's it's been given every day, then everything falls apart. So you can try and question, really, have we tried that? But no one would dare question that tradition, or the things that they held, the belief that they've been holding on to since since the beginning of time in Omelas, that we need this kid, otherwise all the beautiful things that you're experiencing here, it will be gone. So yeah, that's the how do you say this, the plot, but the description of Omelas. Yeah, we also mentioned last time, France. Yeah, she got this name by reading place backwards, and so Omelas is from Salome, Oregon, and then she read it backwards, and then the reverse of Salome. So she got
Salem.
the yeah, sorry, Salome. Salem, sorry, Salem, or I was thinking
Salem.
Salome. Why is it? Yeah, it's Salem. I meant Salem. Yeah, Salem,
Salem.
Oregon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
O
Salem.
O then M. Yeah.
O for
O
Oregon.
yeah. Omelas. Yeah. So
Salem, Oregon.
yes, but yeah, but you see, Franz, like the book I showed you, it's very hard to like categorize this thing, right? But yeah, in the book I've showed you, it's the big book of modern fantasy. They put it there, but like,
Yeah.
can we really? How do you categorize this? If like you had to put it like in a bookshelf, like some like I've even read some who would call this sci-fi because this is not this society can't be, this is something very science fictional. But yeah, most people give it the label of fantasy. uh
Yeah, it's really hard to categorize it. But yeah, fantasy would be the
mm, yeah,
safest, a bit safest.
yeah,
Uh, but it may spawn a new genre on its own.
I
May-
know. Yeah, but it's safely you can like categorize like these things like as dystopian literature or utopian literature, however you
Yeah.
want to label it. But yeah, it's weird because like the premise of both Salo Omelas, the premise of yeah, now I'm thinking of Salome is like the anagram of Omelas. So no,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I was saying the premise of Omelas is very very close to that of like the lottery, right? But
Yeah.
usually when you group these things into genres, you often find the lottery in horror anthologies, and then you find
Mm,
you find Omelas in fantasy. So I think it's because the violence or the horror in the lottery, in the ending of lottery, is much more overt, right? It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like it
It's
wasn't shown, right? But you knew it was gonna
yeah,
happen, right? So it was graphic. Whereas in Omelas, it's a bit, it's very how should you say this? Like you knew that
subtle,
someone's suffering there, but
very
it's not.
subtle.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was subtle, so it's a bit of fantasy like.
You
So yeah,
wouldn't
so
expect it to
let's
go
talk
this
about
deep.
France. These people, because obviously in a usual setting, right? It's a very interesting morality or philosophical debate of like
Yeah,
if you have to label like who are the right people, like the ones who walk away from Omela. So at first reading, right, you would say there can be no suffering, right? Like no matter what the return is, it's not worth it, right? So you might say that then those who walk away from Omelas, those are like the moral guy. They realize that what Omelas is doing is wrong, but like how about those who stayed at Omelas? Like, do we really have the right to label them as like immoral because you are into the you're in on the on the suffering of this little child, and then you stayed, you didn't do anything. So what do you think?
yeah. It would be. It's really difficult to really find who's moral or immoral here. As you know, morality is very relative, especially the
Mm,
culture, and like that. So, um, it I think for us, since both of us are secular, I think we can view those who stayed in Omalas as immoral
mm,
because they I think that the saying the ends justify the means, or sacrifice of one for the good of many, is still
mm.
just immoral because I think they just gave up on the idea to find something better. Just like when you're trying to fix something, you just use tape, scotch tape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Just keep just keep on
yeah,
using it until it
yeah.
breaks, and use again scotch tape until it breaks. But why won't you try to find something better? But yeah, we also, just like as you said, if we put ourselves in their perspective, I think yeah, that's the power of indoctrination. If you
Mm,
don't promote critical thinking to the youth, they'll just grow up following whatever is told to them. If they said that the sky is black, they will say that it's black. If
yeah.
they said
It's black at night. Yeah.
when rises in the west, yeah, they will believe it. Or they
Mm.
say you shit is delicious. Shit is delicious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's
I know, but
really
yeah.
something. Yeah, but we have to put them sometimes. Yeah, sometimes we would think that there's no other choice. We just have to go with the norms, and everything will be better as we've learned. Think
Mm.
that would be satisfying for most of us.
Yeah. And it's so yeah, I think yeah, in the case of Omelas, it's the divide is it's like it's you can even say that it's a very huge simplification, right? Like the ones who walk away from Omelas, the ones who stayed, but like we
Mhm.
never for sure there are like people who
Yeah,
wants to go
there.
away but then wanted to change Omelas, right? Like, oh, this can't be
Yeah,
happening, right? Like, like someone who tried to, yeah, we don't see that. It's like very the line between those who stayed and those who went away is very clear. But I don't know if yeah, maybe if we can think of like implications of those who tried to save the boy, like what happened to them. I don't know if like
I think
they were.
it was mentioned there that when they get home, they ask
Mhm.
their parents or other people, they were just reprimanded.
Yeah, they just get sad. Yeah, they just say, why are we doing this? And then yeah, they people just try to convince them, right? Like, it's the
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
right?
we must do it. We must do it.
Yeah,
They get convinced that that sacrifice is worth the happiness of the rest of people. So
yeah,
you would you want everyone to be sad just for that one
Yeah.
one
Mm,
deformed kid that doesn't
mm,
even know how to speak, who rolls
yeah.
in his own excrement like that. So I
Yeah.
think they just convince those who try to question. They just convince. So I think that's how they develop to those who walk away.
Yeah.
So either
They
they think of the choice to stay and conform or
yeah. It
walk
was
away.
easier. It was easier, just to turn your back and,
Yeah.
you know,
I
yeah.
think that would also be also yeah, we couldn't really just call those who stayed just immoral. I think those who walk away also bear some responsibility to
Mm,
have those changed. But yeah, if you've been one of the minority, it's really an uphill battle if you are one of the minority unless you unless you do something like world changing, something like that to change the views of others, to see that you've been telling all along is incorrect or correct. It's like that.
yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, but usually, yeah, the nice thing about this Omelas is that, when Liguina wrote it, she really emphasized that everyone knows about the kid, right? It's like a requirement that, we're
Yeah.
still young, or you have to see the kid, because you can imagine a society. It will be like easier for a society where, let's just say that this suffering of a kid is required, but then you can keep it, right, from the just for the sanity of the general populace, right? Like, you can keep
Yeah.
all these dark things, like, only a few people know, like, actually, for this society to be very happy and very positive and all these things, a kid has to suffer, but not everyone has to know that, right? That's an even like a simpler society, right? They don't get those people, yeah. But in here, yeah. So I think, yeah, Liguin saw that everyone, like, the guilt has to be shared by everyone else, like, like, yeah, this is everyone is happy, then this is the reason for your happiness, because someone right here is suffering, yeah. But I think, yeah, one thing, friends, that I also thought about, like, if like I said, Omelas is obviously a very simplified, like, society, a very fictional one. But can we, like, push? I think we can push the notion, and ask ourselves, are we living in Omelas, right? Like, what I mean is, like, for society to be like the way we have now, not everyone can be. I think you mentioned this, Franz, back in college. I remember you mentioning, like, not every if everyone wants to be doctors or lawyers, all this high paying stuff, right? Like,
Mhm.
our society can't function if we don't have, like, the basic, like, the farmers and all these people. And then the sad thing is, if you look at like the status, right, like the drivers, those that sell the let's say the meat, and all these things,
The
like, they
vendor.
are they are right, like stereotypically, it's viewed as like, if you go there, then, it's gonna be tough, and all these things. And
Yeah,
so,
you won't be prosperous.
yeah, people want to go to this, so we can, like, can we think of those, like, as the kids, like, like, in our society, like, those guys are like the kids, and then, we get to be like this because of those people, right? Like, who I don't know, like, the sad thing even is that, they didn't have that choice, just like in Omelas, to become that kid, right? To become like the scapegoat, or to become the thing that supports society, is just so people in the higher ups can continue, doing their daily living, right?
Mm, I yeah, I don't think that would be a very good analogy with Omelas. I think it has to do more with the culture. For example, let's
Mm-mm.
say um yeah, let's just say for but let's think it would be better for let's say for a patriarchal society like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So most most of the laws are geared towards men.
Yeah.
and there are very strict laws against women, like their clothing,
Mhm.
um, who they can speak with, who can look
Yeah.
at them or like that. So it's very restricting. We can it's like we can't really just apply it to women. It's just like for majority of the minorities. The minorities suffer for the majority. For example,
Mm.
most of the laws are geared towards the majority. So, though there are laws protecting minority, but it's hard to, especially in our government, in our politics, where you really need power to convince
Mm.
the lawmakers to do it. So, for those minorities, laws are not passed for their benefit. It would take years, decades to have something like, for example, the Lumad schools. The Lumad
Mm.
schools didn't exist early. It took long for them to be constructed just for our Lumads or our indigenous people to be educated without going down from their homes to go to the cities with public schools or like that. So it's something, I think it's something like that where it's mostly the minorities who suffer for the majorities. And that's the sad thing about it because the majority are unaware of the minorities' plight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
unlike Omelas, where
They don't
everyone,
know the presence of the kid.
yeah, they don't know
Yeah.
the presence of the kid,
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm. Yeah, so it's like yeah, so
So
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
regarding with those jobs, yeah, I think uh we can also think about it, but yeah, though the for the jobs is there are already, I think there are already some form of um programs that would help
Mm.
those people, like scholarships or like that, just
Mm.
like us, we are recipients of those, so we can have different professions from our parents and like that. So I think there's something like that. So we're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really trapped on that room. But yeah, the
Mm.
poverty really does put a restriction on at least the caste system was already abolished. That would
Yeah.
be really
I think
bad.
that's a nice step towards yeah.
But I think though it's not really the caste system is not obvious, but I think it still exists in there's still those that hierarchical culture in even
Mm.
at work where you the one below you really need to bow down to your superiors
Yep.
even though what they're doing is wrong. You'll have to bow down because if not you'll have to walk away.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah. So
you want to keep your job, yeah, you have to be to also look at the kid. Let's go away and
yeah.
accept it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really very fascinating. Yeah, that's the genius of this piece of work is the
Yeah.
amount of ways it can make you think with just in a short span of words, right? So
Yeah,
very very powerful. Yeah.
very powerful.
Omelas. That's why that's why yeah, it's among it's a classic. It's among the modern the triumphs of a modern
I
fantasy.
think
Yeah.
it should have a general bit soon.
Yeah.
There's not really, like as you said, there was no protagonist,
I know, yeah. No plot and yeah.
that
Like
like that.
you can think you can like even say that the setting, the place itself is like the antagonist, right? Like
Yeah,
the system
yeah,
is the one that, yeah, and then you have to think. So yeah, you have, yeah, there are really this sometimes moral choices that are like whether you go one way or the other, someone's gonna get hurt, or there's always a negative effect, and then sometimes you just have to choose the lesser evil or something like that. So it's like the train. I forgot how do you call that, the dilemma that with the train, right? Where
Yeah.
if you switch it, then there's one person that's gonna get hit, or
Right.
do you switch it and then it hits some other group of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can like devise a lot of these scenarios
Yeah.
that there's no win-win.
Yeah. Though this kind of situation is always present, but I think something that we should always keep in mind is
Mm.
it's not like those books that we used to have, like choose your own story books, like where
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Mhm.
only have limited choices. But we always have, as humans, we always have the capacity to make something better. We have the capacity to make another choice. If there are no windows, make one like that.
Yeah.
So that's what we should always think. Like, for example, that train. So at first, yeah, we have to choose one of those tracks, but on the next, for example, after that, we have to tell, we have to think what was the problem. So we need to think of a solution after that. So I think with this Omelas and the lottery, those settings, I think they were static in terms of that improvement. So
Yeah.
that's how society should improve, is that we need to keep on finding things that will improve the people's lives.
Mm.
Let's just let's just stop on those either stay or walk away. Just stop on those two choices, I think.
Yeah, uh you have to confront, yeah, sometimes. Yeah, yeah, those are not the only choices available,
Yeah.
yeah, in a society like that. But yeah, I think, yeah, this I can't see the duration of our discussion, but I think, yeah, this was a good nice discussion. So we mentioned, very thematically related, the lottery and the ones who walk away from Omelas. So the idea of a scapegoat, dystopian society, and the format of the story, where at the beginning it was so, the tone is so upbeat and so happy and all these
Yeah.
things, and then suddenly there's like
There's there's a
yeah,
sucker punch.
there's like a shotgun at the end, like, you thought, like, bam.
There's a
Yeah,
sucker punch.
so yeah, stories like this are, like, usually, I would say, typically the stories, they usually go the opposite way, right? Like, initially it was so sad, but then
Yeah.
very happy, happy ending.
Yeah.
Usually it's like
Happy
that, right?
ending.
uh but yeah, sometimes, you get stories where very happy, and then bam. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
uh
many of the literature now goes I think many of the literature they adheres to some kind of this form.
mm,
Like
yeah,
they don't really have happy endings.
yeah,
For
you more,
example,
I think, yeah, it
the recent animation series Arcane,
mm-hmm. This
yeah,
I haven't seen this.
the ending wasn't also a
Uh,
happy
it
ending.
wasn't a bit. Yeah. It's nice that you mentioned that, Franz, because yeah, in fact, one of those who wrote Shirley Jackson a letter were her parents, and then that was exactly their comment. They're like, you kids nowadays, you don't write, like, you always dwell on depressing stuff. Why don't you write something upbeat instead? That's exactly what her parents told her. Among those hate mails from other people, but yeah, she got that comment from her
Yeah,
parents.
I
Yeah.
think Shirley got that right in her story. Like the old man who says, "Kids nowadays, you don't already do these things."
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah, that bit, yeah, this is like 1948, with very, very, if you think about it, it's a bit, yeah, but still very relevant, the
It's
lottery, and
really
then the ones who walk from home. So yeah, so right,
thought
like, so last
provoking.
month, the very first one, we only did like one story, which was the egg, right, from
Mhm.
Andy Wire. So, and then now we did like, yeah, we can call this a fantasy, because of the
Yeah,
Omelas was like, last time when we talk about it, I think we only mentioned Omelas. So in the
Yeah.
recorded video, I think after that is when Francis and I decided that to make it like a 2 short stories. So now I think we can announce. I think for March we go horror, France.
Yeah.
Another genre. So one of the things that I would like is I've mentioned it to you before. This one from the Skeleton Crew collection of Stephen King. It's called The Jaunt.
The Jaunt.
Jaunt.
Yeah.
Right. The Jaunt. So that's one. That's from Stephen King. The other one, so that's a short story. So again,
Mhm.
it's fairly short, but it's The Jaunt. And then the other one, Franz, is of course a different one, which is a manga. So I told you this before
Yeah.
by Junji Ito. This one. Let me see if I can put it in the camera very well. My camera is so confused now.
Yeah.
Here it's called The Long Dream. I think you can see it now. This one,
Yeah.
The Long Dream. There,
Yeah.
The
There.
Long Dream. You see it?
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this, deleting effects. It's making it even more, horrific because but yeah, The Long Dream. We'll see. They're also a bit thematically related, but yeah, I always one of my wishes, for a collaboration between Junji Ito and Stephen King. But yeah,
Yeah, that would be
but
awesome.
yeah, it would be an awesome collaboration. But yeah, that's a thing. So again, still short stories, and then maybe go back. Yeah. By the way, Franz, I think next I don't know if we can do it earlier, like on March, because my wife and I we're gonna go in a conference. We'll
Mhm.
actually during like the last week of March, we'll actually be in Japan for a conference. So I'm not sure if while there, if we can still do the recording, but if not, I don't know if we can make it like the weekend of 18 or March 18 and 19. Uh,
Yeah, I think 18, 19 is
yeah,
good.
I think 18 and 19. But I'll let you know. Maybe we can do it like while in Japan. Then it would be awesome, if while we're in
Yeah.
Japan. But I'm not sure, how good the internet there will be if depending on the place we'll be staying. But if not, then we can. I'll let you know. We can do it 18 and 19.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's again The Jaunt. Let me see. I'm curious if you type it in like Google, if you can find if it's easy to find uh a copy so that it's easy to share it with other people who are also interested to read. Uh, but I think you can find mostly. Yeah, I'm doing a very easy. How do you say this? A very quick Google search. I found someone. Yeah, I don't know if it's illegal though. Someone uploaded like a PDF in a G drive of The Jaunt. Yeah, maybe I'll share
There's
to
in
friends.
GitHub.
There's also, but yeah, I'll share you the link as well in the chat. With The Jaunt. It's like it's in PDF, but I would assume Junji Ito's The Long Dream would be easier to find, right? Like
Well,
manga wise, I think it was like because in terms of popularity, I would say most people like in terms of pop culture, right? A lot of people would be hunting down how do you say this, a manga more than a short story. But I think
um,
I also found
the
one,
result is
Vance.
the result is a film, a 58-minute film.
Of the Long Dream.
Yeah, it
No, I
has
think
6.3 rating more
no,
than
that's probably it's very hard to yeah, that's an interesting topic that we're gonna talk about. But yeah, it's hard to how do you say this translate Junji Ito's works into movies and stuff because manga is its own media, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, but
There's
I think we can find if we just hunt. I think I found one already. Uh, yeah. So if you just scour the internet, everything is like you said, France. The only things that are not there are fresh fish and meat, but everything else is in the internet. Yeah, I think I also sent the link you saw in the chat. So I sent 2 links for
yeah.
just in case, so that we can read it. But yeah, one is a manga, and then one is a short story. Okay. So again, for those who want to read, I think the link that I sent you, Francis, I just noticed now is in Spanish for the long dream. But yeah, we
I
can
think
look for we
I
can look for.
think
Just let me know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm confident you can find a copy
yeah, I think
because
it's in
we are avid manga readers.
manga
So
readers.
yeah. But I do love. Yeah, personally, I have like I've begun collecting Junji Ito's printed works from Viz Media. So I have like maybe 17 or 18 like this works of Junji Ito. And then what I'm doing is every time he has a new one out, a new collection, I usually buy it right away because it's very fascinating staring at his artworks. Even if you've read it already, it's very nice to have a hard copy of his artworks. You just stare at it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
it's really very unique.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, yeah, it's in a collection called Shiver, which is a collection where I love this collection. This is probably my favorite because in this collection, it's the short stories that Junji Ito considers to be his favorite personally, like among the short one-shot things that he already did. So of course, this doesn't include things like Uzumaki because those are like a novel, right? Like those are
Yeah,
like thick manga, but in the short forms that he did, uh, these are among his favorites. And like I said, one of those is The Long Dream that we'll be discussing next month. Okay? And so with that, yeah, I think you have any other last word, Franz, for the second episode of our Book
yeah.
Lovers Club?
For I think particularly for Omelas, I think one of the main themes I think Ursula was trying to get to us the basic question of what is happiness because
Yeah, yeah,
she keeps on mentioning happiness through and through out of this work, and I think that's what she was getting into because yeah, I believe most of us do things for mostly for for our own
yeah.
happiness. I think
It's
yeah, for those their choices on Omelas was also what makes them happy, or for
yeah,
I think yeah,
example
it's
that
like
kid,
yeah.
the miserable kid in the basement
Mm,
after she got I mean the kid in the basement got trapped there for too long. I think if they take them that kid out, I think that kid would be miserable outside
yeah, yeah. But I think
because
yeah, that
he's
line
there
right
for
there, I
too
think it's
long.
just their way of justifying to themselves, right? To keep the
Yeah,
kid there. There's like but if we take him out, he won't survive and things like that. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting you point that out, Franz, because like the way in my feeling when I was reading Omelas is basically like Guin was saying, whatever makes you happy, imagine it
yeah,
and then put it in that place. Because yeah, you're right. The idea of happiness, like or paradise in general, it's very subjective. It depends, what makes someone. For example, myself, right? I like a death metal or stuff like that, right? So I want
yeah,
a paradise where there's like unlimited metal concert. But again, that's not for everyone, right? Like
yeah. That's
most
not
people
for
find that that's insane. That's not paradise. So
everyone.
for me, a paradise of all flowers and singing praises, for me that would be a boring paradise. So it's very subjective. That's why Le Guin wrote there that if you think this is so goody
Yeah,
goody, then put in there whatever you want, like orgy or whatever. Or in fact, she mentioned a drugs, right? You think
yeah,
there's no drugs? There's yeah, you can take drugs, but it's the drugs there was safe in Omelas. I think she gave
yeah.
a name, Druz, Drooz,
True.
right? Yeah, Druz. She gave a name, but yeah. Imagine that place, what you will, what makes you happy, everything is there, and then but there's a catch. Yeah, so
Sagach.
that was that was the it was very yeah. In fact, yeah, the weird thing is like yeah, in that it was very overt, right? When Le Guin was saying how happy
Yeah,
Omelas was, but in the lottery, it didn't even show us, right? That
yeah,
it's like a normal, right?
yeah.
It's like a
It's a
normal village,
normal
but then
gathering.
they had to do this sacrificial ritual just so to maintain that, Like,
Yeah, just to maintain that. That's
yeah,
why
so
the others were complaining that the other villages stopped
already stop, right? Exactly,
the
because yeah,
lottery.
they
And
realized, we don't have to do this, but yeah,
yeah, the old
it's the power
man,
of It's the power of tradition, the power of sometimes
Power of indoctrination.
tradition tradition. It's very hard to give them up. Yeah. But yeah, so I think with that we end our episode 2. So I think we just did the sci-fi January, and then
Yeah.
fantasy in Feb. Then next month we're gonna do France the Jaunt and by Stephen King, and The Long Dream by Junji Ito. And then maybe after that, we go back to the same cycle. I was thinking, Franz, maybe so far we're tackling like short stories. Maybe like towards the end of the year, we decide on a novel that we read early throughout the
Yeah.
year, and then maybe, I don't know, November or March. Sorry, November or March, November or December. We discuss the novel. Like so this is the novel assigned for this year, and then we discuss it, because I think having a novel per month is it's a bit it's a bit a tall order, but I
Yeah.
think
It's
short
like a
stories per
sprint.
month, and then we have like a, I don't know, one or two, maybe we can just try one for this year, one final novel towards the end of the year. Then
Yeah.
I think it's doable.
Yeah, it's or we can do maybe next year we can do uh semi-annual for a novel or with
Yeah, I think semi-annual could be
not
like, maybe we can
not
try.
alone the
Let's talk
short
about it off.
novels.
Yeah, let's talk about it offline. Maybe one novel and discuss it at the middle of the year, and then
Yeah.
another novel that we'll be discussing. So instead of like short stories all throughout, on the 6 month and on the 12th month, we'll be doing
Mm,
novel, and then
yeah.
short
Yeah,
story in between. Yeah, I think that's
novel
doable.
or novelettes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so let's think if this
Then
novel, if we're gonna go sci-fi or horror or fantasy. Yeah, I am leaning towards fantasy because it's more. Yeah, but the problem with fantasy is that if it's a series, then we are compelled the next one has to be book two.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I think with that so I'm gonna give you, Franz, again the link of this one, which I'm
Mhm.
gonna upload in a YouTube, so that we have a copy. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll see you again next month, second to the last week of March, around
Yep.
18, 19, second to the last weekend, in order to discuss The Long Dream by Junji Ito and The Jaunt by Stephen King. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll see you next month, Franz, in less than a month,
Yep.
because we're not gonna go towards the end, towards the last weekend. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, thanks, Francis, and to
Yep.
those who will be listening, will be watching. Thanks. We'll see you next month again. This has been the Book Lovers Club, episode 2, February 2023. Okay. Thanks, and
Have a great
bye
day.
bye. Let me. Oh yeah, it's next month. Next month, first few weeks. Okay. So let me now stop the recording. 3, 2, 1, stop.